5 reasons why street photographs should include people. Hi, it's Peter here, and let's get right into the business. The first one is scale and perspective. People in photographs can provide a scene of scale, helping viewers understand the scale and the size and the spatial relationship in the scene. This can be particularly effective in urban landscapes where human figures are contrast with the grandeur of decay of city environments. Yes, I've written this down and need to read some of the parts, so sorry I can't have the contact in the camera all the time. But yeah, the scale is really important, and having those people in the photographs can give you scale and context to the whole image. And the second one is dynamic and spontaneous composition. People add a dynamic and unpredictable element to street photographs, and that's, I think, the essence. Unpredictable element, which is something that we want in an image, because that makes an image interesting. When there is something unpredictable or your photograph has something like that. Their movements, expressions, and interactions can create spontaneous and alive compositions, offering a sense of realism and immediacy. And that's one thing about street photographs, that they have to be spontaneous, and when you're walking on the streets, you just have to be alert and record what you see. Anything can happen, and you have to be ready. And that's why I think some kind of an interactions with people, not necessarily with the photographer, but with each other on the streets, is really a key to a good street photograph. And then the third thing is cultural representation. Including people in street photographs can capture the essence of a culture or a place. And this is one reason we tend to like classical street photographs, because we see a world that we haven't seen. It's a kind of like a memory, a recording and document of days that have gone, and the places look different. So that's why I think people are really crucial to have, or including people in the street photographs is crucial because of that. It gives us context to the culture they were made. And that's why usually photographing abroad street photographs is more interesting, because you see different types of people. The clothing might be a little different, and the behavior might be a little different. There might be a different amount of people, big crowded cities versus smaller towns and all that. And that is something that makes an image interesting for the viewer when you see images from different places. And it's also interesting for the photographer, because if you walk on in the streets of your own hometown, you might not see anything because it's too familiar to you. But with going abroad and different places might boost your creativity too, because you see different behavior, different types of people, and different amount, like I already said. And that is really interesting. That's also interesting to the viewer too. Relatability and engagement. Seeing others in a photograph can make us curious, have some sympathy, and relate to the person in the image a lot more, making the viewer more invested in the image. And we also spend more time looking at images if there are people in the images. There might be, of course, animals with the same thing. If you have a dog or a cat, that may erase some similar feelings in our viewing experience. So that's a good reason to have a human being or animals in the image. And before we go to the last one, I will have an extra thing about this matter. Human elements adds emotion and story. And this, I think, is the most important thing, to have a story in an image. Because if there is a person in the image, you start wondering who it is, why is it going that, why is it doing that? And that's why it's really important. It raises some questions, and if it raises questions more than giving answers, then there is a story in the image. What the story is, there might be sorrow, tension, some funny moment, or just an interesting character in the image. And I think that's the biggest advantage of having people in a street photograph. And before I go to the extra thing, I have a question for you. What do you think was the most important thing, and why there should be a person in an image? Did I miss a reason? And then the extra thing is one reason, or one of the reasons why there should not be a person in a street photograph. And that's when you want to highlight the absence of human presence. In certain contexts, the absence of people can be a powerful statement. For example, photographs of usually crowded places when they're empty. there might be a reason. For example, during 2020 pandemic was something that people could do photographs that was not possible in normal situations because the lockdowns wiped out people from the streets. You didn't see anyone. And that's one good reason not to have people to show some kind of a problematic situation in the world at that particular time. It's a document of that. So in that sense, street photographs might be good if there are no people. It depends on the story here again. It's the story that decides which one is better. And also showing empty streets at night just to have cityscapes and urbanscapes or details in the city. Or then there is one reason also is to show the traces of human. Showing humans without showing them in the photograph. Let's say that someone has lost a glove and you take a photograph of that glove and you kind of have had the presence of a human being, actually most likely two. The one that has lost the glove and then the second person who has put it up there, and then the third one is the photographer and you are the fourth one to look at the photograph. So there are still 4 people involved in that photograph or part of that whole photograph, even though there is no human being in the photograph. I don't know if you got the point, but I hope I explained it well enough for you to understand, because I struggle sometimes with explaining this in English, but I hope you get the point. So what do you think about this? Should there be people or not in a street photograph? I gave you 5 reasons why there should be, and then one important reason why there might not be anything. But as I said, for me, it depends all about the story. And if that story requires the person to be in the photograph, then it should be. And if it doesn't, then it shouldn't be there. Simple as that. Here you can watch some more videos about street photographs, how to approach. There are several ways to approach street photographs or street photography. And I have a couple of videos about those. You might want to watch those after you've finished watching this, which is probably now, because I'm saying thanks for watching and bye for now.